Huh? And I'm up. Up. Okay. Oh, hey, Andre. Yeah, I'm up. Starting a bit late today because I had to take care of stuff, but yeah, I'm up and we're playing GENSOU MANÈGE again today, and I want to check out the finale part of it, so yeah. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be, so we'll have to see. What I only know about this route is there's no choices for me to do, so it's gonna be an experience. Hey, Izuku. Hey there, Izuku. Good afternoon. Yeah. Red Mutant, hi. Yeah, we're gonna check out the finale chapter, and we'll see how fast I can go through with this. So I have no idea what it's gonna be about. Oh. That way. Most of my memories of my mother revolved around my magic. Each recollection was a beautiful, glimmering moment of my past, shining like a star in my mind's eye.
ほら、もっと集中して。ネックレスを意識するの。
Oh, we get a backstory for the MC. Okay. If this is a fast chapter, gonna play something else after. We'll think about it. I'll think about it first, because at one point I probably shouldn't start another otome game yet, because I'm still deciding what to do with that. Oh yeah, we have a little backstory for the MC, I think. Feel the faint warmth in the star necklace that hung around my neck. When I focused on the warmth, the world grew ever so slightly brighter. I began to make out shimmering particles of light all around me. The second I moved my hand away from the necklace, however, those lights vanished into thin air.
あら、違うことを考えたわね。
I'm sorry, I was just thinking how pretty the lights were.
いいのよ。
Aw.
今日の魔法の練習はここまでにしましょう。
You get to
また
see...
今度。
Oh, that's nice. You get to see your mom.
そうそう。その調子。
My mother was always as kind as could be. I started practicing magic out of simple curiosity. I'd imitate the spells she showed me and beg her to teach me how to perform them. I thought that if I could only learn to use magic, I'd get to see her smile even more than I already did. So thanks to this necklace. Kitty-kun, hi. What's your favorite dinosaur? Do I have one? I don't really have one though. Also, hey Yaku. It was my treasure, the mark of a true witch. My mother let out a chuckle as she watched me paw at it.
そのネックレスが好き？そう。
Oh. As she spoke on, however, her voice took on an unusual intensity.
確かに星のネックレスがあれば魔法がうまく使えるし、もっと強い魔法だって使えるようになるかもしれない。でもね、魔法は軽々しく使っちゃダメよ。
What? Oh, there you go. 7 stream streak. Hey. Emma's mom smash. He's the kill.
誰かのため
She's
に
pretty though.
誰かのことを心から助けたいと思った時に使いなさい。
The look on her face was like nothing I'd seen from her before. Normally, we'd be all smiles when she watched me practice. It was that expression that helped me to understand just how important the matter was. Okay.
いい子ね。もしあなたが大切な人を助けるために魔法を使う時が来たとしたら、思いを込めるのよ。優しい気持ちを。大切に思うその気持ちを。
My mother, my mentor in magic, had always been of frail constitution. It wasn't long after we'd had that conversation that she passed on. She left us when I was 6 years old. Damn. Every day that passed by without my mother felt like a fresh tragedy. My father, however, was a kind man. He did his best to give me all the care and attention I needed in her absence. I was 9 when he suggested that the two of us move to Paris together. Oh, but that's after 3 years.
いやー、すごいな、パリは。賑やかだな。
Hi there on the YouTube chat. Also, hey, Lucifer. There were shops and structures as far as the eye could see, and the sidewalks bustled with people dressed in all sorts of exciting outfits. The cityscape was stunningly vibrant, nothing at all like the countryside towns I was used to. It was like I'd stepped into a totally different world. Huh. Hawkers shouted to advertise their wares as carriages and bicycles rushed by in the street. The city buzzed with a restless energy, and I was quickly swept up in the excitement. Oh, what? Oh, Asian Wing Sauce. Thanks for how many months is that? 20 months. Hey, thank you for the membership on the YouTube side. Hey, thank you. Can stay long. Got to get to sleep. Yeah, you have a good night, Asian Wing Sauce. Thank you again for the membership.
さあ、どうだろうな。
Oh,
でも
hey,
今日から僕
Yukian.
らもその仲間入りだ。これからはパリで暮らすんだよ、エマ。そしてこれからは僕らも楽しいことを作り出す側になるんだよ。
Yeah, have a fun stream, Shin. I hope the monitor is holding up good. Yeah, the monitor is holding up good. Yep. Huh?
父さんはここで遊園地を開こうと思ってるんだ。
Ooh. Is the dog okay? Right now she is kind of lethargic still, but she's starting to run around now. So she's a bit better. We just have to give her medicine. And hopefully that treats the heartworm. think I can play GENSOU MANÈGE the full version. Hey, if you have the game, yeah, go try it out. Oh, Doggo sick? Yeah. Doggo is sick, very sick. At least she ate her lunch, so that's good. Because she wasn't eating yesterday. I'd seen bits and pieces of my father's work, and I tried putting those images together to imagine what sort of place an amusement park would be. My imagination sadly wasn't up to the task. I just couldn't grasp the concept clearly. My father beamed and gave me a nod.
そうだよ。今はただの貴族の社交場だけど、これからはみんなが楽しめる場所にするんだ。
We'll see you later. Have a good day. Yeah, thank you for dropping by, Asian Wing Sauce. I've never been to one, so I only understood what my father meant in the vaguest of senses. He seemed to realize that, so he took a moment to explain himself more clearly.
エマが遊園地に行ったことがないのは、行ける人があらかじめ決められているからだ。子供は行けないとかね。でも娯楽に大人も子供も貴族も平民も関係ない。僕はみんなが等しく笑顔になれる場所を作りたい。
My father's voice was brimming with excitement. The sparkle in his eyes rivaled the light of magic himself.
エマはもちろん、みんなが夢を見られるようなそんな遊園地を作りたいんだ。
My father was a ride engineer. Until we moved to Paris, he made his living putting amusement park equipment together in the workshop that also served as our home. He'd explain how the rides would work when they were finished, and he'd paint them in my favorite colors for me. Occasionally, he'd have to leave the house to repair rides on site as well. Those moments aside, however, my father was a constant presence in my life. His top priority always seemed to be making sure I was enjoying myself. I knew that was what had motivated his decision to open his own park. It made me happier than anything.
明日は無理だな。父さんの友達が遊園地のオーナーだったんだけれど、年を取ったから遊園地を手放すことになってね。閉園してしまったが、僕がどうしてもと言って譲ってもらったんだ。ほら、ここに権利書もある。
Yeah, that's our MC's dad.
Ha 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 ha. たくさん褒めてくれていいぞ。Nucky was able to smash out Pink Cake Woman. これからは楽しく賑やかに暮らすんだ。もう寂しくないな、エマ。
The sadness in his own voice didn't escape me, and it would linger on in my mind for a long time to come. Okay. That's nice. We're getting her backstory though, because our MC is has amnesia, so good to know that we could actually see her past at least. Running an amusement park requires the services of a large staff. My father arranged for housing that his park's employees would be able to live in. Huh. That housing took the form of a rather impressive apartment. I stood outside the building, imagining what sort of people will soon be arriving to live in it.
どうした？ぼーっとして。
I was thinking about what kinds of people are gonna live here. I hope they're nice.
楽しい人か。そればかりはなんとも。スタッフは接客を担当する人ばかりじゃないからね。
Huh.
ああ、今日君に合わせる青年は遊具技師なんだ。愛想はいまいちかな。
My father chuckled, then gave me a tap right around my collar.
ちゃんと星のネックレスは身につけているかい？
If her mom gets an Nisha, I'll fix her mom, bro.
そうか。これから君はいろんな人に会う機会があるだろうけれど、魔法は人前では使わないようにしなさい。本当に必要なもののために、本当に必要な時にだけ使うんだ。
Oh, his tone really changed. Okay. You mean... he had a rule. I would only practice my magic when my mother and I were together. As a result, I hadn't had any chances to practice my magic on a day-to-day basis after she passed away. That didn't mean that I never used it, though. Every once in a while, when I was lost in my memories of my mother, I would practice my magic in secret. Umiyama, hi. I made my stuffed animals move around and play the part of my friends, trying to take my mind off the loneliness that still lingered within me. Now I realize what my father had been aware of. My magical
魔
escapades.
法は悪いものじゃない。でも、魔法を怖がる人もいる。だから隠しておくんだよ。誰も傷つかないようにね。
Couldn't say no to that, so I nodded in agreement. He seemed to realize that I was dejected and spoke up in a brighter tone.
それじゃあご対面と行こう。新しい出会いはワクワクするね。
Yeah. Okay, the range in the VA. Okay, then I see you.
ヒューゴー、マドモアゼルを連れてきたよ。挨拶してくれるかな？ヒューゴー。
すみません。
いやあヒューゴ、休日にすまないね。さあ、彼が今をときめく天才遊具技師のヒューゴだよ。握手を、エマ。どうしたヒューゴ？もしかして寝起きだったのかな？
もう少し静かにしてもらえませんか？
It certainly wasn't the best first impression. I'd known Hugo for all of 10 seconds, and I'd already pegged him as a hopeless grouch. Damn, okay. I mean, he is grumpy. He was. Is he really a genius engineer? We made our introductions to one another, but my impression of Hugo was still far from perfect, or even good for that matter. My father scratched his head and muttered awkwardly.
僕はそう思っているけどね。ただ、彼はスタッフの中じゃ一番新入りだし、年も一番若い。なのに技術は並外れてるんだ。そう。だけどいつもああだからね。他のスタッフともあまり馴染めていないし、もう少し仲良くなれたらと思っていたんだが。せっかく遊園地で他のスタッフと働いているのに、無言でオートマタをいじってばかりなんて寂しいと思うんだよ、僕は。
I'd been going to my father's amusement park practically every day, starting the moment I was allowed. In spite of that, this was my first time seeing Hugo. I didn't recall hearing anyone say his name either. When I imagined him doing his work all on his lonesome, I couldn't help but relate. It reminded me of how I'd go off to secretly use my magic. That's why I ended up muttering to myself.
それなら、エマが友達になってくれないかな。そうそう。僕もそう思うよ。
I almost had to suspect he'd been waiting for me to say that. My father and I were in agreement, much to his delight. And that's how I made friends with an amusement park engineer several years my senior. He was perfectly willing to humor me in spite of my age, and he became quite talkative when the subject of rides arose. He was prouder than anyone of the rides he'd designed, and more careful than anyone about maintaining them. He was just earnest to a fault when it came to the things he loved. That's how I came to see him. Anyway. That's why I wanted to be the first one there to celebrate with him. The montage that Hugo had personally designed was scheduled to be unveiled today. It was almost tragically predictable that this would be the day that an old woman I knew would stop me in the path to the park, ask for help, and give me a pile of vegetables and things for my trouble. By the time I finally finished with her, the park had long since opened. I ended up arriving in the afternoon. The second I set foot into the park, however, my disappointment shifted into an astonished joy. Oh. Hey, Burrito Fools!
皆さんようこそ。足を運んでいただき感謝いたします。心ゆくまで夢の時間をお楽しみください。いやあエマ、ようやく来たのか。それを言うのはまだ早いよ。動いているところは見たことがないだろう。特等席にご案内しよう。
Hmm.
そうだろう。ヒューゴは見事にこの遊園地を夢の世界へ変えてくれた。これで彼はこの遊園地の名物技師だ。さあ、今日の主役。そんなところで縮こまってないで出ておいで。
Oh. My father called out for Hugo as he set me down again. A moment later, the man of the hour emerged from his hiding place behind the menage.
主役はマネージュですよ。ありがとう。
I'd seen the menage's designs and I'd watch him work on it, but seeing it completed and in place was wondrous in a whole different sort of way. It was the most incredible thing. Hey Ash, well, this is the finale chapter, so this is like a flashback, so there's a different scene. Think you were playing some other game previously? I play a lot of games. From that perspective, the day's opening was indeed a tremendous success. I was proud as could be of my father for making the park a reality, and of Hugo for building the menage that served as its centerpiece.
どうもフロランさん、長々と取材にお付き合いいただきありがとうございました。
Just then, a reporter with a camera slung over his shoulder pushed his way through the crowd toward us.
いえ、いい記事になるのを待っていますよ。
期待していてください。こんな遊園地初めて見ましたから。この遊具もマネージも本当に素敵だ。
ありがとうございます。ヒューゴのこともしっかり書いておいてください。
Did you start this stream just now? Yeah, this started like 30 minutes ago.
わかりました。それじゃあ。
ちょっと待って。もう一枚余分に写真を撮ってもらうことはできますかね。
ああ、構いませんよ。お好きな構図で1枚撮りましょう。
ありがとう。マネージの前で3人並んだところを撮ってほしいんですよ。
親子水入らずじゃなくてもよかったんですか？
何を言うんだ。君が作ったマネージだろ。今日の大成功は君のものだよ。
そんなことはありません。フロランさんがいつも的確に俺を導いてくれたから。
Hey, Pato. Time for a final route. Yeah. We'll see how long the chapter is, though.
いつも俺がやるべきことを教えてくれて、支え、励ましてくれた。二人がいなかったら、きっと俺は。
おや、褒められてしまったよ、エマ。父として鼻が高いね。
Also, small Emma. Yeah, you get to see a flashback of her.
ありがとうございます。いつも感謝しています。
No.
エマ、感謝の気持ちを込めて、これを君に。
Oh, is this? Huh? Ah, yeah, the mini menage. Astonishingly enough, the item that Hugo held out to me was a miniature menage. It was the spitting image of the real one he designed, so much so that I had to take a moment to gawk at it and compare it to the real thing. Is this...
そっくりだろう。マネージュと同じ形のオルゴールを作ってみたんだ。
Hugo turned its key. It started revolving just as a real menage would. And a beautiful tune began to play. Music box menage glimmered in the sunlight as its beautifully carved wooden horses slowly spun about. Hugo smiled as he held the music box out
もらっ
toward
て
me.
くれるよね。
Did I really? You're really giving me something this
も
wonderful?
ちろん、君のために作ったんだから。そうだと嬉しいな。
素晴らしいものをもらったね。僕からもお礼を言おう。ありがとう、ヒューゴ。
いいえ。このオルゴールが作れたのも、二人のおかげです。俺もいつかフロランさんみたいに、素晴らしい遊具技師になりたい。
ついでに園長もやるかい？
それは、どうかな。俺はそんなタイプじゃないですから。
そんなことはないよ。人はいつだって変われるんだ。
While we were chatting away, the reporter finished preparing to take our picture. My father took a moment to thank him once more.
すみません、無理を言って。
たくさんお時間いただきましたし、いい取材ができましたからね。そのお礼です。では行きますよ。笑顔で。
Ah. We wound up with a photo of the three of us standing before the menage, smiling like we'd never smiled before. It was such a perfect moment, one I knew I'd never tire of looking back on. Picture captured that moment perfectly.
園長、手紙が届いてます。
あ、ありがとう。
I made my way to the amusement park as usual. I watched everyone go about their jobs. Sometimes I stopped to help and even showed visitors around the park when I could get away with it. The crowd that had gathered for the unveiling of Hugo's Menage had been a one-time affair. After Ever since then, the park had enjoyed a steady stream of visitors. It was a rousing success. That meant that my father was busier than ever. Naturally, but he seemed to be enjoying his work to the fullest in my eyes. That's why at first I didn't make anything of the letter he received that day. Oh.
参ったな。
Uh-oh. This is what I think it is. The shadow that fell over his expression after he read it, however, changed things. The letter crumpled as my father clenched his fist.
どうしました？
この間も話したが、軍が正式にこの遊園地の権利を買いたいと言ってきたんだ。
ああ、例の。でも軍がこの遊園地を買って何の利益があるんでしょうか？まさか軍で遊園地を経営するとでも？
そうだったら少しはマシだったかな。おそらく土地や資材目当てだろ
う。じゃあ軍に譲り渡したらここは解体されるってことですか？
そうなるだろうね。
そんな！フロランさんとみんなでここまで作り上げてきた遊園地なのに、今さらそんなこと。
僕もこの縁を軍になんて渡したくないよ。自分の遊園地を持つことは以前からの夢だったし、その夢は叶ったばかりなんだ。まだやりたいことはたくさんある。みんなと世界一の遊園地を作っていきたいんだ。相手が軍では、僕ら一般市民ではどうしようもない。最悪、実力行使に出るだろう。
たとえそうだとしても、フロランさんが遊園地を手放したくないと思っているなら、最後まで諦めません。こんな理不尽が許されてたまるか。俺は最後まで戦います。
そうだな。その通りだ。軍にこの縁の価値などわかるまい。彼らの手に渡ったが最後、僕らの夢はついえてしまう。最後まで守り抜こう。僕らの大切な居場所のために。
I'd never seen my father or Hugo so overcome with fury. Their expressions turned stern as they discussed their options. But it's just gonna be leading to the... yeah. Those details were beyond me, though. I simply watched on from afar. Hey, Sai! How you doing? A year had passed since we moved to Paris and my father became the park's owner. It was December 1st, in the early morning. My father had left home at the crack of dawn, and the look of concern in his face as he stepped out of the door had been bothering me ever since. I decided to follow him and set out for the amusement park. When I arrived, yeah.
どういうことだ？縁は売らないと何度も言ったじゃないか。
And never heard my father sound so enraged before. I was so shocked I hid on
ここに
reflex.
権利書はあると言っているだろう。もはやこの縁は軍のものだ。解体作業を開始する。この場所から今すぐ立ち退け。
そんな権利書偽物だ。軍で捏造したんだろう。
いいからさっさと立ち去れ。この場で捕まりたいのか？
All around me, soldiers who were trying to begin the park's demolition, and the park's staff members were engaged in heated argument. The military, however, showed no sign of paying any heed to the park's rightful owners. They'd already set up a fence around its exterior.
まずはあっちの遊具からだ。
Uh-oh.
それがないとパフォーマンスができないんだ。頼む。それは。
邪魔するな。さっさと出ていけ。
The demolition was already beginning, and while the park staff tried their hardest to stop the soldiers, it was a doomed effort. One by one, they gave up and went on their way.
すみませんフロランさん
The park staff looked terribly small as they vanished off into the city, hounded all away by orders the soldiers barked at them.
そうこんなこと
Father gritted his teeth as he watched his workers leave. Meanwhile, one of the soldiers approached him.
まだ諦めていなかったのかね。貴様もなかなかしつこい男だ。
お前は口の利き方をわきまえろ。ダニエル・ヴァンサン大将だ。そうか。お前が手紙を送ってきた大将か。
何度も忠告してやったのに残念だな。これ以上邪魔すると容赦せんぞ。
それはこちらのセリフだ。我々の権利を無視し、こんな強引なやり方をして新聞社に記事にしてもらい、世間に訴え出てやる。
I'm back from my shower. What happened? We're seeing the tragedy happen.
できるものならやってみろ。我々も事情があって本件を進めているんだ。現在軍需工場では鉄材が不足している。軍としては早急に解決せねばならん問題だ。ここには豊富な鉄材があるだろう。娯楽などに資源を割かず国のために提供しろ。何せこのご時世だからな。
このご時世だからこそ娯楽が必要なんだ。人々が夢を持ち希望を与える場所こそが今必要なんじゃないのか。
Umi, hi.
よまいごとだ。現実を見
Hi
ろ。
there. The soldier was unmoved by my father's protest. Before I knew it, my father and Hugo were the only staff members who remained in the park.
お願い
So
だ
we getting?
マネージュだけは残してほしい
This is a finale route, so I'm not sure how this is gonna go. So we'll see. Yeah, it's like an extra chapter, and it's the finale.
くどい。そこをどけ。
どけない。どうしてもこれだ。
歯向かう相手を間違えたな。
There we go. At long last, the soldier grew tired of the drawn-out exchange. He drew out a pistol. Could see everything from my hiding place, and I shuddered as I watched the scene play out.
貴様はこれで終わりだ。
The soldier pulled the trigger without hesitation. Although the shot had only grazed him, it had injured his neck. I mean, that's still the neck, so, yeah. A stream of blood spilled from the wound, staining his hands red. Father tried to dash to his side, but the soldiers held him back. The soldier who shot him stepped closer, raising his gun once more. Bro, he was gonna shoot him again, bro. I was convinced the soldier was going to shoot Hugo again, and before I knew it, I'd taken off at a sprint. My legs were trembling with fear, and I knew I was running straight into danger. That Vtuber always gets me. Thankfully, it is in the middle of the afternoon for me, so that's not as bright. I desperately wished for Hugo to be okay as I slipped through the crowd of soldiers and dashed in front of him. At the same time, I said a prayer. It's one of the moments when it's alright for me to use my magic. Oh, but yeah, it did happen. Flash of light, my prayer taken form, burst forth from my chest. A blinding gleam engulfed the world, blotting out everything. Even the sound of the gunshot and the sensation of the bullet's impact. Felt like the light was forming itself into a chain, binding itself around me and Hugo to protect us from harm. My body strained under the pressure of the light and I let out a scream. I knew in an instant that I was feeling the backlash of my own magic. But I couldn't stop it, and I didn't want to regardless. This is the start of her magic? Yeah! Yep, it's the start of everything. As for what happened next, I don't remember it clearly. The rest of the story is what I pieced together from Arno's description. Yo, okay. That's a lot of fade to whites though. One after the other. Damn. Eventually, the magical light subsided, leaving a young man and a little girl lying prone on the ground.
何だったんだ今の光は。
遊具が
Yeah. The army had a lot of flashbacks, so the soldiers were in a panic. When the light faded, they found that their surroundings had changed dramatically. The menage still stood where it had always been, but all of the other rides and buildings had undergone a dramatic transformation. There wasn't a trace of demolition work that had already been done. The amusement park around them now looked like something out of a picture book.
奇妙な。おい、娘はどうした？
気を失っているようです。こちらの技師も同じように。
怪我の様子は弾が当たっただろう。
どうでしょうか。
バカ者、怯えるな。きっと今のは魔法だろう。となると、鉄材よりもよほど役に立つな。よし、その娘を捕らえろ。軍の基地へ連れて行く。
メロ。
A moment later, he shouted at the top of his lungs as he thrashed his way free of his captors.
やめろー！私の娘に手を出すな！
Florent rushed to his daughter's side and held her in his
僕の
arms.
声が聞こえるか？返事をしてくれ！お願いだ！なんとか言ってくれ！どうか目を覚まして！エマ！
Florent's voice rang out in vain as his tears fell upon her clothing.
おい、娘をよこせ。その娘は軍で預かり、調査させてもらう。
Fight him, I wish I could.
聞いているのか？そこをどけ！
嫌だ！絶対に渡さない！居場所も家族も夢も全て奪われて奪うことしかできない軍に出て行け！この遊園地から出て行け！絶対に許さない。もう何もお前らには。
娘を回収しろ。はっ！
Daniel ignored Florent's grief-stricken wail and ordered the man's daughter to be turned away from him. Florent was in tears. Still, he tried to fight the soldiers off and scream once more.
お前らは間違っている。暴力でしか人を動かせない奴らに正義なんてない。後悔する日が来るからだ。絶対に。
Oh, we went through Arnold's route and Daniel definitely regretted it. Oh boy. He curled his fingers around the rigid grip of his pistol once more and ended Florent's life with a single shot. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Daniel had no idea that his own son had borne witness to the murder he'd committed. Yeah, that happened. After it was all over, I was taken to a military hospital. They were planning on subjecting me to magical experiments after I'd recovered. But what they had anticipated was that I'd ended up bedridden with a terrible fever. I'm told that I spent 3 days and nights stricken by my illness, drifting in and out of a hazy half-consciousness, but never truly awakening. When I did finally wake up again, I'd lost both my magic and a year's worth of memories. It kept me in the hospital for some time to make sure my condition wouldn't resolve itself on its own. But in the end, it was determined that both losses were permanent. Since I lacked my memories, I had no idea how it had come to this. Military, of course, was ready to provide an explanation. According to them, my father and I had fallen into... I know that's a name of a river. My father had drowned and I'd barely survived, but I lost my memories in the process. Yeah, the cover story from the military, of course. I was left to conclude that I had lost my magic in the same accident. I didn't have any reason to doubt their explanation, and for lack of a better option, ended up obeying the military's orders. I lost my parents, so I was all alone. For long though, I was taken in by the Vincents and sent to live with Monsieur Daniel's estate. Hi Irina, thanks for the lurk! So Emma was given a life of her dad's death. Yeah. Yeah, she was. Yeah, hi Irina. How you doing? Never for a moment did I suspect I was living in the home of my own father's murderer. Yeah, that was something. Also, unbeknownst to me was the fate of the amusement park.
何してる。危ないだろう。すまん。なぜか板が勝手に動いて。
The military had attempted to continue the demolition process after Monsieur Daniel had departed, but a series of inexplicable incidents had brought the project to a standstill. In short, any attempt to remove anything from the park would result in that object simply moving back into place on its own. Attempts to dismantle the rides with tools, meanwhile, were met with no success whatsoever.
そこいつまでやってるんだ。しかしいくらやっても無理なんです。なんでだ。
Enjoy rest of stream, just cozying in here. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for dropping by though. Once a piece of equipment had seemingly collapsed by its own will, much to the dismay of the unfortunate soldier who was left beneath it. Nobody had been terribly injured so far, but the danger was real enough to put the demolition on pause. That was far from the only accident of its kind. When word of the mysterious accidents reached Monsieur Daniel's ears, he ordered the whole project to be put on ice. Then, there was Hugo. Yeah, I know his real body was put into a hospital. His heart was still beating, and he had been rushed to a military hospital in the wake of the incident. He was eventually transferred to a private clinic where he'd been kept ever since, never regaining consciousness for so much as a moment. His sleep, by all appearances, would be never-ending. And it would stay that way for 7 long years. That brought us to today. Through the time I spent in the Reverie, I'd managed to regain all the memories I'd once lost. My efforts to awaken my magic had likely played a factor. With that, the truth had been brought to light. Arnold had taken that as his opportunity to confess about his sins and his father's. He'd also apologized to me, Monsieur Hugo, and the others. Is this actually... Wait, is this like on his route? Monsieur Hugo had forgiven him without hesitation, and he'd taken the chance to tell the story of his own past and current circumstances. The truth of it all was shocking beyond belief. It most certainly wasn't something we could simply let stand. And so, with Arnold and the people of the Reverie at my side, I arranged to have a newspaper article published revealing both the truth and Monsieur Daniel's crimes. To start, there was the fact that he'd acted unilaterally to take illegitimate possession of the farm 7 years ago and had killed my father in the process. Also, we have an ad break. Okay, I'm gonna take a 3-minute break too. Yep, thanks for the hydrate. And the stretch, yep. Oh god. I'm back. Hey, Shumi. Here, we gonna make some iced tea? Hey, yeah, go. You know what? It's 3 p.m. and it's really hot at the moment. I'm gonna turn on the AC for 1 hour. No, okay. Ad break done, so be good to continue. And then there was his use of the military's resources and personnel to conduct secret witch hunts. The truth had been particularly impactful, especially because the incidents had already taken form as the so-called Hamlin phenomenon, urban legend. The initial rumors, which had also been the work of the military, claimed that the staff of the Revier had been responsible for the kidnappings. The military's goal was to foist the responsibility for the witch hunts off onto the Revier. Thanks to Arnold's media connections, however, the truth was unveiled as front-page news, and the military's reputation suffered a major blow. Needless to say, Monsieur Daniel's rank was stripped from him, and he would be forced to compensate his many victims, me included, for the crimes he'd committed against them. The Reviso staff had gathered in front of their menage. Arnold stood at the center of that gathering. His head bowed in apology.
これで父は軍法会議にかけられ、しかるべき処分が下されるはずです。かといって、過去の何が変わるわけでもないし、俺がしたことは何一つ償えていないから。だから、俺は。
アルノ、もういいんだよ。
Monsieur Hugo stepped in to cut off his apology.
君は誠実な青年だから、自分で自分を許せないだろうけど、俺は今すごく救われた気分なんだ。過去は取り戻せない。だからこそ、7年前のことが公になり、ダニエルさんが裁かれてほしいと思っていたし、その言葉が聞きたかった。それに、今回のことがあって一番影響が大きいのは君たち家族だろう。これからも抱えていく問題は多いと思う。
Thanks to the recent revelations and Monsieur Daniel's arrest, the Vincent family's name had been dragged through the mud. Some people chose not to treat them differently, of course, but the bulk of society had judged them very harshly for Monsieur Daniel's actions.
そんなこと、当然の報いだと思います。
そうかな。俺は君に救われたから、君もその罪悪感から救われてほしいんだけどね。
ジルのその後の処分はどうなった？彼もまだ牢にいるのか？
The man Sergei was concerned about, Jill, was a soldier. Sergei had also served in the military in the past, and the two of them had become fast friends. Jill's help had also been instrumental for gathering the information that we needed to bring the truth to light. He had participated in the witch hunts and now deeply regretted it. That regret had driven him to offer us information and support our claims as whistleblower. Okay. It seemed that Sergei had been worried since then about Jill, how Jill would fare, whether or not he'd be held accountable for his past participation.
やはりしばらくは禁錮刑が続くと思います。でも彼が提出した証拠資料や態度から刑期を短くすべきだという話になっていて。
Okay.
再度審議が行われると聞いています。悪いようにはならないんじゃないでしょうか。
そうか。
The look of relief in Sergei's face helped me finally find my own resolve. Arnold wasn't the only one who owed everyone an apology. 7 years ago, when the army stormed into my father's park, I used my magic, and as a result, Monsieur Hugo was imprisoned in the Revier. In time, the same thing would happen to the rest of you. My magic trapped you between life and death, robbing you of your freedom and confining you to this park. Can't apologize enough for that. if it weren't for my magic, none of you would have had to go through any of this. I followed Arnold's example and opened up about my mistake. And when the review staff replied, I was shocked by the cheer in their voices.
エマが魔法を使わなければみんなそのまま死んじゃってたかもしれないのよね。
I mean, yeah, that is true.
そうだよ。俺は7年前に死んでいたかもしれないね。
なら別に謝るようなことじゃねえだろ。
Ahsoka. The Goblin Slayer, Ahsoka from Umeha.
僕もそう思う。それにレイブで働くのすごく楽しかったよ。
それを恨みに思っている人間はいないだろう。少なくとも私はレイブで過ごした毎日のことを。
むしろ僕は感謝してるし、ずっとこのままでいてもいいと思っていますけどね。
Each of them spoke their minds in turn. Finally, Monsieur Hugo cleared his throat and addressed me on everyone's behalf.
人それぞれ思うところは違うね。けれど、エマ。
ですよ、yeah.
君の魔法は間違いなく俺たちに大きな影響を与え、俺たちを大きく変えた。それは君にしかできなかったことだ。レイブでの大切な日々も君がいなければ存在しなかった。そうだよね。
But it wasn't all good, was it? Weren't there hard times too?
そう見えたかい？俺は君に会えた時、もう解放されたいと言ったけど、それは目の前の毎日が辛いから言ったんじゃない。そうあるべきだと思ったから言っただけだ。俺たちが本来あるべき自然の摂理から外れているのは分かっていた。幽霊だ亡霊だと言われても仕方がない。それが正しいとは思わない。だからレイブからの解放を望んだ。レイブでの毎日を後悔したことはないよ。これまでも今もずっとね。理想の遊園地を、レイブ移動遊園地を作り、みんなと過ごした日々は素晴らしいものだったよ。君にもみんなにも感謝している。
Monsieur Hugo then took a bow directed toward all of us. Day after day, we'd watch him greet our visitors and send them off again in that precise manner. This wasn't just a simple formality, though. It was a heartfelt message just for us all. It was a message of boundless joy and gratitude.
ちなみに7年前のことを思い出したのに、まだ俺のことをそう呼ぶのかな？俺たちは友人同士だったはずだけど、エマ。
When you put it that way, Hugo?
そう、それだ。
Man, the old Hugo who was very antisocial is now after 7 years just, you know, this. Hugo gave me a playful wink. I felt like I was about to cry just moments before, but all of a sudden my tears had dried. But in that case, my mind jumped to the whole reason why I started working at the review to begin with. For antisocial to a flirt. Yeah, I know, right? The jump. In that case, what should I do? Should I really set you all free? I mean, that's the right thing to do. The longer the conversation wore on, the more I began to hesitate. The souls of everyone who was trapped in the Reveille had lost their way, and they were stuck in a state between life and death. If I released them, their souls would be free to drift off into death's waiting embrace. And that was assuming they weren't already dead, which seemed equally possible. I had no way of judging what would be for the best, and so I proposed a question to them.
それはもちろん行うべきだ。そういう約束だったね。
The rest of the review staff looked somewhat apprehensive, but none of them chose to speak up. Can't confirm you pull an antisocial out of their shell and they feel comfortable. The flirting follows. And so, in spite of my doubts, it was decided that I would free the review in 2 weeks' time. The time they had left was limited, and the anxiety in their eyes as that fact sank in was something that would linger in my mind for a long time to come.
これが
Have my iced tea cranberry? Nice. Oh, we found the there we go. Arnold handed me a document. The park in question, of course, was the one my father used to own. Its deed had been kept in Monsieur Daniel's house ever since my father's passing. As I clutched the deed to my chest, it felt like a void within my heart had at long last been filled. It wasn't as if that one sheet of paper had made everything go back to the way it used to be, but at the very least, I had regained one of the precious things that had been taken from me.
本当にごめんな。
It's alright, Arnold. You're just following your father's orders.
ずっとお前に嘘をついていたし、俺が何とかすることだってできたと思うから。俺さえ。
Talked about this, remember? Besides, the fact that your father's on trial means that something is being done right now. I think it's high time for us to try and move on.
そうだよな。ありがとう。
The days I spent at therapy were truly precious to me. They were something special, and the more I came to appreciate that, the harder it became to let go. Even if I knew clinging to them would be wrong, I was starting to understand how Arnold had felt. Some joys were just too precious to let go, even if you had to lie to keep them. The thought of saying goodbye pained me. The thought of the review going away was heartbreaking. Hi there on the YouTube chat. Hi. Losing them would be like losing everything that we'd been through together. That could never be an easy step for me to take. As I pondered the fate of the RPA, I gazed at the amusement park deed that Arnold had given me. What on earth should I do? The more I thought back on everything we'd been through, the harder I thought about the choice ahead of me. The less I understood what the right answer was. I asked everyone about their circumstances and their thoughts on being released from the RPA. They hadn't been eager to share, but once I'd made it clear that my decision would hinge on their answers, they started to open up. Hugo had been shot 7 years ago and was teetering precautiously between life and death. At that moment, his body was in a comatose state in a Parisian hospital. Sergei's right arm and heart were both artificial and powered by magic. If they ceased to function, he would die. Rivier currently provided his heart the magic it needed. It was all that was keeping him alive. Yeah, Sergei is bound to die. He has no escape on that. Clara had collapsed during a visit to the RPA and she'd ended up unconscious and in critical condition. Her body was still in her hometown as far as anyone knew. Only her soul remained in the park. Rie, meanwhile, had chosen to stay in the RPA to be with her. Leon was a special case. He didn't have any memories of his prior life, so he had no way of knowing what his circumstances were. Moreover, Unlike the other staff members, his true form only ever manifested at nighttime. The explanation for that was a mystery as well. He found himself clad in his costume during the daytime. He changed into his human form only at night, when no one was around to see him. That made the question of what would happen to him once he was freed even more of a mystery than ever. The one thing I could say for sure was that since his soul was present in the repeat in the absence of his body, that seemed like a highly probable result. And since we went through his route, he is dead. Leon is dead. So yeah, he's really gonna be dead after. Lucio had been opposed to everyone's release at first, but he'd come around to the idea in the long term. I was like, hey Spencer, thanks for the hydrate. After his birth, his father had discovered that his mother was a witch and had abandoned the two of them on the spot. His mother passed away sometime later, and he was placed in an orphanage. Those childhood experiences had left him traumatized, and he failed to accumulate to society after he came of age. He ended up essentially wasting away on his own. At the brink of death, his soul found its way to the VA and took form as the Lucille we know. Ordinary players last night had passed out to adjust my sleep schedule. That's fine. That's fine. I was just asking if you could check if there are any spoilery things in Laser's room, in case Flo visits the room sometime. Because Flo, I don't remember the Flo wanted to see his room, but it was locked until Laser opened it last night. No spoiler. Okay. He was terrified by the thought of being released and returning to his old lifestyle, of losing the RPA, where he felt he belonged. He didn't want to go back to the way he used to be. I thought long and hard about all of them, and the longer I thought, the more I came to realize that I couldn't see their current lifestyles as unnatural. No matter how I looked at them, they're all so very dear to me, and I feel like I belong in the RP as well. I've enjoyed my time there so much, but if I granted them their freedom, it would all come to an end. Just the thought of it almost brought me to tears. All of this started because of my magic, though. It's my duty to bring it to an end. If I didn't, they would stay trapped in the RP forever. And forever, I knew, was a concept I couldn't truly understand. The suffering that eternity would bring them was beyond my comprehension. In that sense, I knew I had to release them as soon as I could. I knew it, but it was just hard to accept. When I think about how I'll never see them again, I lose my nerve. When I think about the RP vanishing, leaving only Hugo's Manage behind, Manage and I would stand alone in the remains of the site of the RP we used to occupy. Envisioning that brought me more than just sadness, it filled me with dread. It was the same fear I'd felt 7 years beforehand. The same chill made me shudder violently. Stood up, made my way over to my dresser, picked up my music box and set it down by the windowsill. That's right, this was a gift from Hugo. That was one of the many memories that had finally returned to me. Hugo had crafted it for me himself, modeling it after the Manage that he had designed. I thought it was a memento of my father, so I'd always assumed that he'd been the one who made it. Turned out I'd been mistaken. Sakura, hi. Welcome to the stream. I had also forgotten the other item that I overjoyed by the gift, had hidden away within it. was a picture, hidden away in a secret compartment. One I truly cherished. A wave of nostalgia rushed over me as I gazed at the picture. I love my father's park. He taught me that it was a place where dreams would come to life. It's just as brilliant in my memories now as it was the day I first saw it. Hervé is the same way. Hugo carried on my father's wishes by building it. That must be why it's such a wonderful place. But amusement parks only work when there are people there to enjoy them. The world of dreams is made complete by its residents' smiles. So for the sake of those smiles, sorry to barge in so late at night, but I wanted to ask you about
い
something.
や、いいよ。エマがずっと悩んでいたことは知ってたし。
At the end of my brooding, I decided to pay Arnold a visit in his room. He was happy to welcome me inside. I'd been too preoccupied by my own worries to notice up until that moment that his slightly subdued tone told me that he'd been fretting just as much as I had.
でも、いいのか？俺に相談なんて。
What do you mean?
俺じゃ頼りになるかどうか。
Never seen Arnold act this timid before. His words were tinged with crushing sense of guilt. Are you blaming yourself for all this again, Arnold?
それは、そうだろ。レイブのみんなだって、7年前のあの事件がなければ今頃は。
Seeing Arnold act like this was like looking into a mirror. I spent so long worried that everyone's imprisonment was my fault, agonizing over what to do on my own. I saw so many of my own worries in him. That thought was too much for me, so I stepped forward and took his hand. You always used to lead me around by the hand, didn't you?
うん。そうだな。
You know, when I look at you right now, see you worrying yourself sick over the same things I am, drives me in how long we've been together. That's why I want you to help me.
手伝うって、何を？
To start with creating a place that everyone will be able to return to after they're freed. We need to pick a meeting place if we want everyone to get together again, right? Oh. Arnold blinked, his eyes wide with shock. He probably thought I was going to ask about whether or not I should free everyone. That question was still on my mind, in all fairness, but that wasn't quite it. That and I want to make a promise with everyone that will make them want to come back to us again.
約束？
Want us all to promise to open an amusement park together. That should give them the motivation they need to stop by, don't you think? Arnold seemed to pick up on what I was trying to say and nodded in reply.
そうだな。
I'd been as worried as could be before I stated my plan out loud. However, as I described it to him, piece by piece, I started to grow more and more hopeful that it just might work. I want to carry on my father's dream, and more than anything, I want to bring the Rivet back again after it disappears. I'll remake it from scratch. I'll make it into a place that everyone can come home to. I'll have them promise me that they will. There's a trick to magic, you know? Especially when you use it to help someone you cherish. The same words her mother said, yeah.
あなたが大切な人を助けるために、思いを込めるのよ。優しい気持ちを
James, hi. Welcome to the stream. All you have to do is put all of your love into your magic and it'll never fail you. Tell Arnold my whole plan. As I spoke on, a smile gradually spreads across his face.
わかった。いくらでも手伝うよ。俺でいいのかわからないけれど、それで何を手伝えばいいんだ？
I'd like you to help me with the park's operations. After I release everyone from repair, everything except the Monash will disappear. That means we'll need to remake all the rides, buildings, and automatons. It's going to take a lot of money too.
なるほど。じゃあ何が必要か調べて、資金の調達方法も検討しないとな。そういうことなら任せてくれ。
I thought it would be. Sorry to dump this on you while you're already busy with your work though.
関係ないよ。エマの頼みだし。
How are you doing? I'm doing fine. Arnold gave my hand a squeeze, then let out a chuckle.
俺もレイブと、レイブのみんなが好きなんだ。取材で何回か行っただけだけど、あそこが居心地いいってのもよくは、みんな優しいし、いい人だよな。
And as for Hugo, yes.
俺のことを許すどころか、励ましてくれて。なおさら申し訳なく、自分が小さく思えて。
Arnold hung his head for just a moment, but his usual smile had returned by the time he looked back up again.
だから俺も、みんなのために何かしたい。これが俺の償いってわけじゃないけど、前を向いていくための目標にする。全力で手伝うよ、エマ。
Oh, thanks for the head pass, Sumi. After that, the days flew by for us at a dizzying speed. The day I would free everyone was already set in stone, and we had a lot to get done before the time arrived. Let's see, we have to work out funding and materials and put together a management plan.
あらあら、難しいことを考えているのね。
As I worked through my plan, jotting down notes on a sheet of paper, Madame Alice struck up a conversation. She hadn't known a thing and not about the incident 7 years ago, nor the military witch hunts that her husband had orchestrated. Understandably, Monsieur Daniel's arrest had come as a terrible shock to her. She'd been very depressed about it for quite some time, but she finally seemed to have bounced back again. Well, mostly, just like Arnold, Madame Alice seemed to feel like she had to make up for the things Monsieur Daniel had done to me. As a result, she'd been even more caring and considerate toward me than ever. Did she just hit us with an... Yeah, she did. Wife material, well, she is married, but you know what I mean. Potato. The fact that I was still living in the Vincent household had been thanks to her as well. Oh. Actually, what happened then?
ひどい目に遭わされていたと分かって、私たちを恨んでいるかもしれないけれど、もし他に行くところがないのなら、ここにいて。今でも私はあなたを本当の家族のように思っているから。
She did treat the MC like her own daughter, so yeah. Those words had been a blessing from my perspective. If she hadn't said them, I would have lost not only my home but also my family all over again. And since she was my family, I didn't hesitate to open up to her about what was on my mind. Do you remember what I said about the amusement park the other day? I've been thinking more about that plan. There's a lot that I have to figure out, and not much time to do it in.
ああ、レイブのことね。どんな悩みなの？
To be honest, the biggest obstacle is money. Running a park is expensive and I just don't have the funding. I need to get it open. The reparations the military paid me will help, but well...
それはそうよね。それじゃあこれはあるのには内緒にしておいてほしいんだけれど。
Yes. Adam Alice reached deep into a cupboard, pulled out the sack, and sat down on the table with a hefty thud. Huh? What's that?
こっそり貯めておいたへそくりなの。遊園地のために使ってちょうだい。
Oh, okay. What? Could possibly?
ダメなわけがないわ。これじゃ全然足りないくらいよ。あなたが受けた仕打ちを考えると。
Whole sack of money, yeah. Can get better than that. But that had nothing to do with you, Madam Alice. You didn't even know.
それでも私の夫がしたことだから。失ったものは戻ってこないし。お金で埋め合わせをするなんてなんだか浅ましいようにも思うけれど。でもないよりはいいわよね。
That's not... I mean, there's nothing shameful about it at all.
それなら協力させて。助けになりたいのよ。いくらでも。
Then she flashed me a grin. One that was the spitting image of Arnold's.
それに遊園地って楽しいじゃない？新しい遊園地ができたらぜひ私も呼んでちょうだい。あなたが作った遊園地だなんて考えるだけでワクワクするわ。ね？私にも出資させて。
Okay.
それならどうかしら。
He had a very good idea of just how much trouble and grief Monsieur Daniel's action had cost her. But she didn't let that sway her opinion of me at all. She was still as willing to smile with me as ever. And I was truly grateful for that.
俺に内緒って言うならこんなところで話さないでほしいんだけどな。
あら、いたのね、あるの。
Well, that's not a secret anymore then.
そりゃあここは俺の家でもあるからな。
What do you think, Arnold? Can I accept the money?
もちろん。俺の許可はいらないだろう。というか、俺もこっそりへそくりを予算に足そうと思っていたのに、先を越された。
What? You don't have to do that.
そうしたいんだよ。母さんと同じ。
What can I even say to that? They're both so kind to me. There were no words. Arnold could clearly tell how overwhelmed I was. He flashed me an awkward smile as he popped the bag he was carrying down on the table.
これさ、中身を確認してほしいんだけど。
Huh?
父さんの部屋をもう一度見に行った時
More money?
気になるものを見つけたんだ。
Wait, did he sell some stuff that his dad owned? Arnold opened up the bag, began pulling out a variety of items. Oh. He produced a bundle of papers, an assortment of pens and stationery, a notebook, a letter, and finally... Oh. That's the one that she owns then. Well, she owned. I had reached out and picked it up before I even realized what I was doing. A quick inspection confirmed my suspicion. It was without a doubt one of the matching set of necklaces that my mother and I had once worn together. Arnold pawning off his dad's stuff would be funny.
母さんからもらった星の形のネックレスがあるんだって。
However, as I looked closer at the necklace, I realized that something was slightly off. That's strange. Is this really mine? I didn't stay puzzled for long. Arnold spoke up again a moment later.
勝手に見て悪いけど、手紙とかメモ帳にお前の名前も書いてあったからさ。 多分これ
Oh.
お前の両親のものだと思うんだ。
When he put it that way, some of the items did look somewhat familiar. Okay, so he found Emma's parents' stuff while he was looking through his dad's belongings. I could recall my father using the stationery and the notebook, and the letter was likely one my mother had left for me. I think you're right. Yes. Thank you, Arnold.
いや、本来お前の手に渡るもののはずなのに、父さんがずっと隠し持っていたんだろう。
That's it. You're banned from apologizing until further notice. That's so funny.
確かに多すぎるかもしれないわね。
Hasn't he though? It's been bothering me more and more the longer he's kept it up.
誠意は行動と物で示すのよ。あるの？
Apology has been denied.
物って、それも違う気がするんだけど。
Three of us exchanged glances, then cracked up together. Back when I'd first learned the truth of my past, I never could have imagined a day like this would ever come again. I knew that I would never take these little moments of joy for granted again. Here that day in my room, I took a moment to look through the assortment of my parents' belongings that Arnold had given to me. This is Dad's handwriting. Right, it's just like I remember it. The notebook was filled with the signed drafts for his amusement park and notes about its management. Hey Ranga. Stop being pushover, but it'll show some language. Hey Ranga. He'd written down the names of clients he'd worked with and engineers he'd befriended. There was a wealth of information, though some entries were just scraps of ideas that I couldn't decipher. I have a feeling this is going to come in handy. Just looking at the notebook made my heart leap with joy. Next, I move on to the papers. This looks like a report in the military's magical experiments, I think. I realized immediately why they'd been filed alongside my parents' belongings. The military had used the star necklace in their experiments. Mr. Daniel must have been convinced that it was a secret to unlocking more powerful forms of magic. Hey Shizu! The records showed that he'd forced the witches he'd captured to wear the necklace when they'd used their magic. None of them, however, had managed to produce results in the scale of my spell from 7 years ago. The documents made that conclusion very clear. Well, of course it did. After all this necklace does is make it a little easier to control your magic. It only has the slightest of effect on its actual power. That brought me to the letter that my mother had left for me. I opened it up and found it had been penned in a rather shaky hand. I had to assume she'd written it shortly before her death, but I had no memory of its contents. Had my father not shown it to me? Perhaps he'd decide to save it and give it to me when I needed it most. Can't wait for the Baron dungeon. Oh yeah, there is a Baron dungeon, yeah. The moment I began to read, I realized that I had been right about my father's motives. The letter's contents were truly shocking. Oh?
エマへ魔法を教えてあげるって約束をしていたのに、途中で旅立つことになってしまってごめんなさい。お父さんにはあなたになるべく魔法を使うなと言い聞かせるように言ってあります。お母さんもお父さんも あなたの魔法が大好きです。けれど魔法は時に危険な力になります。その力が暴走しないように、あなたに星のネックレスをプレゼントしました。ずっとつけていてくれてると信じています。この手紙と一緒に保管してあるのは、私が使っていたネックレスです。私も小さい頃は、あなたと同じように、ネックレスで魔法の暴走を防いでいました。暴走を防ぐには、ネックレスを身につけて、その力をネックレスに吸い込ませるのです。だからこのネックレスには、魔法の力がたくさん込められています。魔法の力が込められたネックレスは、普通の人が想像もしないような奇跡を起こすこともできると思います。例えば、死者を生き返らせるようなことも。
Oh, okay. Huh. I had to pause at that point and set the layer down for a moment. I gently stroked the star necklace. Upon a closer look, I could tell that it didn't have the same scratches and marks that I remembered my old necklace having. So this is Mom's. And if I were to use it... I took a long deep breath and picked up the letter again.
このことをあなたに教えるのは、あなたがいつか魔法で誰かを助けたいと思った時に、このネックレスを使ってほしいからです。そんなことはめったにないだろうし、危険な魔法だということはあなたにもわかると思います。だからこそ、その魔法が必要になるなら、あなたにとって大切な決断の時なのでしょう。
What do you think is gonna be the mount reward for getting all the wings? I hope it's I hope it's like 3 pairs of wings or 4 pairs of wings. all in one. All with different colors. I don't know. KFC buffet. Yeah, that actually. Or Raphael wings. More like Raphael wings. And if you play GBF, I'm more thinking of the Sandalphon wings when he was the old Sandalphon that was kinda bitch. Something like that. I hope it was multi-flavored chicken wings.
あなたの判断を信じます。ですから、このことを
Buffalo
よく覚えておいてく
avocado.
ださい。
Let me see. Now.
大きな魔法を使うためには、大きな魔法の力が必要になります。死の淵にある魂を呼び戻すような魔法であればなおさら、あなたのネックレスと私のネックレスに魔法の力をすべて込めれば、きっと奇跡も起こせるでしょう。けれど呼び戻せるのは魂だけ。失われた体を元に戻すことは難しいし、この強大な魔法を使えば、その代償として魔法の力を失うでしょう。よく考えて。そしてあなたが決めて、大切なあなたが悲しむことが一つでも減りますように。母より愛を込めて。
The letter ended there. Never could have dreamed that the necklaces held that sort of power. I was stunned. Even more than that, though. I have to become an skeptic. I could feel tears beginning to pool in the corners of my eyes. I had a very clear idea of why my mother had written this letter when she was on the brink of death. And why my father had kept it hidden away. I'm sure he'd read it himself, but he didn't give it to me. I He would have handed over right away, asked me to bring my mother back, but he'd done no such thing. And I knew that was because of how much he'd cared for me. He didn't want me to sacrifice myself for my mother's sake. That was the only explanation. That was why he'd kept the letter hidden away for so long. And why it had ultimately fallen into Monsieur Daniel's hands. He didn't let me read it for my own sake. That thought alone nearly moved me to tears. I swallowed back my sadness though and looked back at the letter once more.
あなたがいつか魔法で誰かを助けたいと思った時にこのネックレスを使って。
The last apocryphal Bahamut was from FF4, so I feel they might choose something from FF9. Oh, we'll see. Well, we'll see. We have 7.55 still. We have 7.5. So we have like 3 patches. So I chose to use my magic for the people of the Riviera. It was only right after all my magic had been the source of their predicament to begin with. I don't want to regret not doing everything I could when it's all over. I want to try my hardest to save the people I love. And I'm sure you wouldn't mind me pushing my limits for that sake, right? Oh, there we go. Our MC finally made a decision.
あなたのネックレスとこのネックレスを使って魔法の力をすべて込めればきっと奇跡も起こせるでしょう。
Judging by my mother's letter, I would need both of our necklaces in order to bring about a miracle. That meant that if I want to save everyone in the Riviera, I was one short. It's strange though, for some reason I'm confident everything will be just fine anyway. I knew that if I undid the spell that had been cast over the Riviera, my own necklace would return to me. I couldn't say why I knew that, I just did. I think the source of the Riviera's magic must be the star necklace I used to wear. Otherwise, there's no way my spell could have lasted for 7 long years. Much less had the power to bind even more souls to the park after the fact. So, before anything else, I have to set everyone free. And when I have both necklaces in hand, I'll pour all of my power into a miracle. And I'll save them all. The moment I reached that decision, my fear vanished into thin air. All I had to do was believe in myself. Once I thought that I lost everything I held dear, when I'd recovered memories, my heart had been filled to the breaking point with grief and regret. I'd even wish for a moment that I could just forget everything all over again. Are we trying for the true route? Yep, this is the true route basically. It's the very last route. Where this one doesn't have any choices, we just go through it. So yeah. I was wrong. Through the kindness and consideration of the people I love, I came to realize that I hadn't lost everything after all. Came to understand just how much I'd gained over the course of the 7 years. And if it hadn't been for that, what happened 7 years ago, there's no way I would have ever met all of them. They were all here. Hugo, Sergei, Kriye, Leon, Lucille, Clara, and Arnold were gathered around the menage, chatting away. Oh my god, they're happy. They're happy. Oh, is back. For a while, there was just silence and just sad music. Big Bunny, Big Bunny.
最後くらいいいでしょ。明日のこととか気にせず食べられるんだから。
本当にたくさん食べてたもんね。僕もたまにならいいと思うよ。
たまにというか、これで最後なんだが。
思い残すことがないようにするのはいいことじゃないか。 セルジュは思う存分お酒を飲んだかな？
ヒューゴじゃあるまいし、こんな時に酔っていられるか。
こんな時だから飲むってよく聞くけどな。
分かってるね、リオン。そうそう、今日はきっといいことがあるからね。前もって祝うくらい許されるよ。
そうじゃなく、シラフでいないと心構えが。言うだけ無駄か。
ヒューゴさんはお酒が好きなんですか？
うん、好きだよ。俺が無事に戻ったらプレゼントはブランデーでよろしく。
わかりました。カルバドスはどうですか？
へえ、よく知ってるね。大好きだよ。
上司に言われて買ってきたことがあるんです。じゃあそれにしますよ。
素直な人を丸め込んでますね。
ルシオールは何かないのかい？レイブから解放されたらやりたいこととか行きたい場所とか。
Establish just a furry hierarchy them.
それを僕に聞くんですか？
永遠に引きこもってたいじゃねえの？
何言ってんの？今はそうじゃないでしょ。なんかないのルシオール？
人がいないところになら
Damn.
自然が豊かで悩みがなくなるような綺麗な場所になら行きたいです。
いいわね。それなら私も行きたいわ。
And just wants to
そ
relax.
して引
Understandable.
きこもりたいです。
オチはつけなくていいんだっつうの。
僕はいろんなところを旅してみたい。元気にどんなところでも歩いて回ってたくさんの景色を自分の目で見るんだ。
By the way, Ranga, this bunny, this bunny is like 15 years old, Ranga. He just looks like this at daytime. At nighttime, he actually has a human body. Well, yeah. Yeah, he's 15. And that tall. Magic. Magic made him trapped in this. Reminds me of that anime, A Maggie Brilliant Park. I'm not familiar with that, but hey.
お、その景色を絵本にするのもいいな。きっと素敵な絵本になるよね。
いい目標だな。
Sounds like a certain Teddy from a specific Persona game. It's kinda like that, yeah. Yeah.
目標つか夢？リオンらしいな。
夢じゃないだろう。実現するつもりでいるんだろう、リオン。
うん、できればだけど。
もちろん実現するよ。君がそう信じればね。
What the MC is trying to do with a 15-year-old? Well, in his route, so, every love interest in this game, except for Kriye, are actually just souls. They're just trapped in this, amusement park. And, in Leon's route, if you set his soul free, and if you get the bad ending, he just dies, because he's already dead. But if you get the good ending, somehow he becomes alive. Just comes back alive. With some kind of miracle. Girl dubs. Wow! Not every otome game is sunshine and rainbows. That's what I kind of like with this game. You look at the art and it's all sunshine and rainbows, and then you play it and it's like, oh shit. It's magic, it doesn't have to make sense. Yeah, it doesn't, yeah.
そっか。それじゃあ目標にするね。
約束だ。
なんだ。
Yeah, except for
みんなや
this
りたい
guy.
こととかそういうの決めてんだな。
This guy is actually alive. This is actually him. He's the only guy here that's an actual person.
パフォーマンスができればどこでもいい。でしょ？
He's here because of Clara. Clara is his younger, well, younger twin sister. And Clara is, she was at her deathbed. So, yeah.
そんなこと言ってねえだろ。
Clara is a Doomyuri love interest? Nope. Nope. Not really. She's your bestie. She's the MC's bestie. Plot armor is strong with this one, he says. Yeah.
そう顔に書いてあったの。間違ってた？
俺は行きたい場所なんて特にないし、なんならやりたいことだって特にない。みんなと。
そうなのかい？じゃあシェフに挑戦しているクリエを見てみたいな。
え？いや、それはマジで無理。分かってて言ってんだろ。意地悪だな、園長。
みんなと会え
We're
るなら
also on
何で
ad
もいいだ
break,
なん
so
てけなげなことを
I'll
言う
take
から
that 3 minutes
いじりたくなってしまって
as the ad break is running. Ads, yeah, ads. If I feed Leon a lot of carrots, will he grow into a full-fledged hot bun boy? You could cut off them. Yeah, ads. We'll wait. We'll wait for the ads. I'm out at least. Oh, there you go. Yeah, we'll wait for the ads to finish at least. I'm free, yeah! But yeah, I mean... the game has been really fun. I like that there's also like a difference in how the MC is in each route. Like some routes she was really dumb. Some routes she was really, you know, upfront. Which is really nice to see that the MC can be a different personality in each route. Eating the ads. So thank you for the stretch. That's why I like this game. The MC has a different, like a slight difference in personality in every route. Like it's really subtle and maybe something a lot of people might not notice at first, but it's a welcome little subtle change for the MC. Okay. 10 seconds on the ads. Should be almost done. Tomato-based pasta dishes are my favorite now. Hey, nice. Okay, ad break should be done by now. So I guess we continue.
たちが悪いな。
そういうセルジュはどうなんだい？元軍人としては軍に戻りたかったりするのかな？
全くもってごめんな。今回の魔女狩り騒動を知ってつくづく愛想が尽きた。軍に戻る気はない。
Understandable.
なんかすみません。
軍の不始末を公にしてくれてよかったと言っているんだ。あの新聞記事は読んでいて留飲が下がった。
Feels like I'm eating healthy at the same time, enjoying my fats and proteins, but it's about the same calorie. Yeah, that's good, yeah.
本当はあの記事も俺が書く予定じゃなかったんです。父親だし市場が入るといけないから。でも俺の上司が伝えたいことがあるなら自分で書けって、そう背中を押してくれて。
それは伝わってきた。隠された真実を明らかにしようという誠意を感じた。文章一つで伝えるなど私にはできないことだ。
確かにあの記事はいい記事だったね。でもセルジュがここまで褒めるなんて珍しい。
しっけえな。私とて褒めるときは褒める。
Everyone's laughter echoed across the park. First, certainly enjoying themselves. I knew that this might be my final farewell with them, though, so watching them chatting away without caring the world was somewhat heart-wrenching as well. Now, this won't be any sort of farewell. I'll see them all again, without a doubt. I'd been silent for quite some time, which did escape Hugo's notice. He strolled over to check up on me.
緊張しているかい？
Just a little.
いいね。適度な緊張は成功のもとだ。
Sometimes, okay. He smiled softly, patted my head with the utmost gentleness, and stepped away again. His words gave me the last push I needed. I faced the group and made my declaration. I will now undo the Revier's magic and set all of you free. Everyone's expression shifted in an instant. Not to say they grew gloomy though. They wore peaceful smiles, gazing at me with trust and faith in their eyes. They were the expressions of those who had the will to put their lives in my hands. Those expressions, that trust, gave me courage. But before I do, I have one thing I'd like to tell you. In preparation for today, Arnold and I have been laying the groundwork to found a new traveling amusement park. The Revier in its current form may vanish, but we've been working to ensure that the Revier lives on, and that all of you have a place to come home to.
え？新しいレーブ？
なんだそれ、いつの間に。
早く言ってよ、水臭いじゃない。
Sorry, I was worried that we might not be able to really make it happen, but it looks like we'll be pulling through after all. Actually, no, it doesn't look like it. We will pull through, no matter what.
じゃあレーブがなくなってもまたここに新しい遊園地ができるの？
僕はここに戻ってきてもいいんですか？
Yes, in fact, I want all of you to come back here after it's all over. I have faith that you'll be able to, and I'll be praying every day to see you again until it happens. So please, after you're freed from the Revier, come see me here. We'll all gather up and open a new traveling amusement park together. My voice rang out across the Revier. Everyone seemed excited for a moment, but that energy gradually died away. The look on their faces was half joyous, half anxious.
でも
Rie spoke up before anyone else. The way he spoke was something like it had been a second ago. He muttered in a sad, apprehensive tone.
生死をさまよっているみんなが助かる保証なんてどこにもないんだよな。
Don't worry, Rie, we have plot armor. We're good. His concern for Clara and the others was painfully clear in his voice. And that concern is what drove me to vigorously shake my head. There is. I'll guarantee it myself. My mother told me that this necklace has the power to save souls on the brink of death if I use it properly. I gingerly place my hands upon the star necklace, my memento of my mother. A necklace that glimmered like a star, even under the light of the gas lanterns in town, or the moon above. She told me that if a time came when I wanted to save someone, I should use this necklace. I promised her that I only use it for a purpose that truly mattered to me, in a moment when I truly needed it. And now, to make sure I don't lose any of the people I love, and to spare all of us from at least one of the sorrows we might face, I'll use every ounce of magic that I have. Nervier's staff fell silent and simply looked on. Even Gray chose not to say a word. I could tell that he understood how I felt. Nervier is a wonderful place. It's a place that allows us to step into the world of our dreams. That's a place that we no longer need. I would like to wake up from this dream so that I can make a new one. One I want to share with all of you. I intend to open a new Nervier, a new traveling amusement park in this place, but even if it's not quite the same, that doesn't change the fact that each and every one of you will have a place there. I swear I'll save you, even if it costs me my magic, so I would like all of you to promise me something as well. Once I've released you from Nervier, once you've regained your freedom, I want you to return to this place. Promise me. Oh. Ay. Okay, wait, let me BRB. I'll just go and help mom real quick. I'll be right back. Ah. Yep, I'm back. Yeah, what time is it? Okay. Thanks for the hydrate. Yeah, I will need to like step out at 5:30 though, but I'll be right back right after again. I just need to like help with giving the dog their hair medicine. Yeah, I'll have to like step out real quick just to give the dog some medicine by 5:30, but I'll be back again. Oh yeah. Hopefully we can finish it before that time. I'm not really sure how long this is still. Oh, well, we'll see.
わかった。約束する。必ず戻ってくることを誓うし、そう望むよ。簡単だな。元よりそのつもりだったから。戻ってきたらまたよろしく。新しいレイブ移動遊園地。楽しみにしてるよ。
ただ約束しろと言われても具体性がなく難しい話だが、生きる希望があるとあなたが言うのなら、私も必ずあなたの魔法を信じると約束しよう。そこに根拠があるのなら、なおのこと希望を捨てる理由はないだろうしな。
私ももちろん戻ってくるからね。エマは嘘なんかつかないの知ってるし、ここで約束できないなんて言えないわよ。かっこ悪いものね。
これって俺も約束しないとまずい流れかよ。
約束できないなんてかっこ悪いものね。
分かったって。俺は魔法とか関係ないけどさ。でもお前が毎日頑張ってたのは知ってるし、パフォーマンスと同じで毎日練習すれば必ず結果が出るはずだ。そういうもんだから。お前がみんなを生かしてくれるって俺は信じてるし、一緒に祈ってやるよ。絶対うまくいく。
I thought for a moment that they were going to devolve into one of their quarrels, but instead they both decided to cheer me on. I was so pleased and amused by their encouragement, I could feel my nerves begin to loosen. Thank you, it will work out, I promise. Leon stood by Korea's side. As our eyes met, I could just tell he was grinning. Leon, we will meet again, no matter what, it's a promise.
記憶のない僕が霊部から解放されたら、僕はどこへ行くのかなって思っていたけれど、ここへ戻ってくればいいんだね。すごく安心したよ。
Yun had voiced his concerns up until now, but his words made it clear that he was worried about what would happen to him. You know, you don't have to hold back on us, right? If there's anything you're scared or sad about, you can say it right now.
辛いことか。僕らがいなくなった後、エマさんが泣いちゃうんじゃないかって少し心配だったけれど、絶対大丈夫ならもう気にしなくていいね。
Leon's voice was as cheerful as ever, but his words still tugged fiercely at my heartstrings. This yell in contrast couldn't have made the sigh he heaved any less moving if he tried.
なんだか最後まで夢だの魔法だのそう簡単に約束できるわけないでしょ。僕の体が今どうなってるかは 僕自身にだってわからないんですから。
That's true, but I'd like you to come back here anyway.
わかっていますよ。せっかく僕にも居場所を作ってくれました。ここに僕の居場所があるなら、戻ってきます。できる限りですが。
Michelle was ever the contrarian, but even he agreed to my promise in the end. I flashed him a delighted grin and he turned his back to me. Some things never change.
じゃあまた新しいレイブ移動遊園地で皆さんと会えるのを。
We'll all come together again in front of this menage. That felt like my signal. I grasped the star necklace in my hands. Oh, okay, that was... I'll save all the people I love so dearly. Chains of magical light bound the souls of my friends in this place. I will release them, breaking down the shining stars that severed their feathers. The star they have to freedom. Life is ephemeral, beginning and ending in the blink of an eye. So I reach out to catch their lives in my hands, taking careful stock of each of them. Finally, once their souls have gained their freedom, I focus upon the people I've met here, upon the light of magic so blindingly brilliant. I'll make sure that all of us meet again. Focus on the center of the reverie, from which I could see the chains of magical light that stretched from the menage and wrapped themselves around my friends. Then one by one, severed each and every one of them. Force of my feelings shattered the chains to pieces. As their broken remains dispersed into the air, they dissolved into particles of light, bathing the vicinity to their glow. Oh. And as that light flooded the reverie, I pressed my hands to my chest once more. I knew that two star necklaces rested within them. Finally, they had both returned to me. One necklace had been my mother's. She imbued it with all the power she could, knowing that someday it would help me. The other necklace had been mine. 7 years ago, it had become the source of the magic that kept everyone bound to the reverie. All of them are precious to me. All of them are irreplaceable. I always thought of the events of that day as the start of a terrible tragedy for all of us. But I was wrong. Though we each have our own sadness, I'll change all of it into joy. I'll remake the world of our dreams from the ground up and bring a smile to everyone's faces. For that, I'll offer up the magic within me and these necklaces. Now let them be set free. Chain of light, each link glimmering as beautiful as a gemstone, stretched upward into the starry sky. It flew higher and higher up into the air until finally it reached the peak of its ascent. With that, it broke apart, shattering across the sky in all directions. That truth had been particularly impactful, especially because the incidents had already taken form as a so-called Hamlin phenomenon urban legend. It's snow. The snow I'd seen that day had chilled me to the core. It had been a frigid, tragic memory. The snow was different. I think the snow is going to become a good memory. I choose to believe it will. I reached out to catch a snowflake, which burst into light within my palm. Hey Jay, how are you? Doing fine. Doing fine, chillin'. This brilliance spilled out around me. The The world was bathed in white. Then it fell into a deep darkness. How was your day today? It was fine. All good. So far. Darkness that I thought to be boundless gradually faded, and the gentle shades of a perfectly ordinary evening returned. First thing I managed to make out in front of me was the menage. That's when I realized what had happened. Simply been dazzled with the light, and now my eyes were readjusting to darkness. Okay, my voice echoed through the clearing, drove in how forlorn the scene was. I opened my hands to find 2 necklaces lying within my grasp. They had shined so brightly just moments before, but now there wasn't a trace of light to be found in either of them. And that wasn't all. Magic too. Could no longer sense any trace of a magic's glimmering light. Could tell instinctually that I'd used up every last bit of my power. Thought I was prepared to lose my magic, but now that it's truly happened, I'm not so sure. Stood there at a loss for words until someone stepped up to my side and gently patted my shoulder.
お疲れ。
Seeing Arnold's face was an incredible relief. His familiar features helped me regain my composure enough to take a closer look around the area. The once vibrantly decorated site that the Riviera had occupied was now devoid of all traces of the park, save the menage and the remaining automatons. Well, that and 2 figures. These 2. Yeah. Kree and Sergei were the only staff members left. Kree was gazing up at the sky in a daze, his eyes following the particles of light that still trailed through the dark expanse above us. And Sergei, is your heart alright?
確かめてみてくれないか?
Oh, of course. I walked up to him, inspected him so thoroughly that under any other circumstances, I was sure he would have snapped at me for staring. Didn't get mad at all though. In fact, he even took a hold of my hand, held it to his chest, and smiled at me.
鼓動を感じるか? 作り物の心臓が今も変わらず動いている。
That's right. I could feel it, or at least I thought I could feel the steady beat of his heart through my palm. That's good, yeah.
なんだ、びっくりした。驚かせないでくださいよ、セルジュさん。
すまないな。私自身も驚いていたんだ。
Rhea's gaze had finally drifted to us, and his expression had taken on a certain stiffness I hadn't noticed before.
んだよ。驚くことねえだろ。エマの。
Clenched his fist, I could tell he was irritated. Didn't take me long to understand why he was so frazzled either.
クララも今頃目を覚ましているだろう。
そんなの当たり前だろ。
That's right, it's obvious. Or I'd like to think it is at least. The light that had once shone around us had now entirely subsided. The dark silence of night reigned over the forest once more. Only the moon and stars above were left to illuminate us. Turned my eyes to them and said a silent prayer. Let them wake up, please. Let all of them return to us. It was a prayer I would repeat many times over, day after day. As each new day dawned, I told myself that this would be the one day someone would find their way back. And tell that to myself again the day after. And again the day after that. As each day passed by, my prayers began to pile up. We dedicate ourselves to working toward Europe's grand reopening.
結局さ、パリまで行かないと部品が足りないんだよな。だから来週あたりパリへ買い出しに行ってこようと思うんだけど。 やっぱりブランブールじゃ部品調達にも限界があるよな。その辺ヒューゴさんは。
Am I good?
おーいエマ。部品の話まあいいよ。
Sorry, I was just lost in
い
thought.
いよ。いろいろ考える気持ちはわかるから。
Arnold and I were walking along the path to the V8, the newer V8, together. I've long since lost count of how many times we'd made that trip. We've been to and from the park time and time again ever since I'd set everyone free. However, Arnold, Kriye, Sergey, and I were still its only workers.
ほら、みんながいる町は遠いんだろうし、生死の淵をさまよっていたんだ。すぐに起き上がってこっちへ来るなんて難しいだろうし、気長に待とうぜ。
Yeah, Arnold was absolutely right that I knew he was trying to cheer me up. Nevertheless, my anxiety remained. I want to see everyone again as soon as possible, and I mean everyone won't be the same if any of them are missing. I would hardly claim that our preparations to open the new park were all going smoothly. Even with Arnold and Madame Alice's contributions, our finances were still tight. Barely even knew where to start working on the park itself. Every new day brought with it a fresh understanding of how unprepared I was. No, I can't think like this. I chose this path to make sure I wouldn't be left with any regrets. I don't want to have to grieve for anyone. It's all right. It will all work out. We'll get our miracle yet. I'm sure of it. I did my best to soothe my nerves as we drew closer to the park. We found Sergey and Kriye sitting around by the Manage. It was a little odd to see them literally just sitting there. Wondered if something had happened, but decided to start by saying hello.
おはよ
Oh, they're wearing their usual outfit from the endings. Yep.
す。
おはようございます。相変わらず活気が足りない二人ですね。
余計なお世話だな。
別に客の前でもねえし、いいだろ。
いいですけど、相変わらず冷たい二人だな。
By the way, what are the two of you doing by the Manage? Did something happen? Oh, Kriye gave the side of the Manage a knock as he
開
answered.
園してなくても定期的に動かせって園長が言ってたから動かしてみたんだけどさ、ちょっと調子が悪いみたいなんだ。
Listen?
稼働の際にわずかだが異音がする。このまま動かして故障しても困るからな。
Okay. I nodded as I stepped over to the Manage. Unfortunately, servicing it was far beyond my skill set.
ヒューゴかルシオールがいればその原因もわかるんだろうが。
Sergey hadn't meant to sour the mood, I'm sure, but his words still felt an awkward silence in their wake.
すぐに来ますよ。だから今は他の設備を整えていきましょう。
そうだな。変なことを言ってすまない。
いえ、俺も機械いじりができればよかったんだけど。
Arnold's comment had pretty Sergey's spirits, but Gray seemed less than convinced.
すぐっていつだよ。
Oh god. Arnold's laughter cut off abruptly as Gray turned a sharp glare toward
す
him.
ぐ会える。そのうち会える。いつか会えるってどんどん引き伸ばされて。まだ誰も帰ってこないのに。なんで信じることができるんだよ。
Gray clenched his fists with frustration, then looked up into the sky. Same one the light had dispersed into the night. I'd set everyone free.
いつまで経ってもクララは戻ってこないし。やっぱり俺はすぐにでもクララを迎えに行くべきだったんだ。 約束なんか。
He had voiced his worries in the subject a number of times since he started helping with the park's preparations. Each time he'd ultimately concluded that he'd promised to reunite with everyone here and decided to keep his word. Despite that, it wasn't hard to imagine how many doubts he still had. It was a given.
すぐに故郷に戻ってクララに会いに行って俺の方から迎えに行けばよかった。まあそこで会えたとしても生きているかどうかもわかんないけどな。
Kyrie practically spat that last praise. His words full of self-loathing. I had no idea what to say to him. None of us knew how to cheer him up, but in the end, we didn't have to.
いやね、人に当たらないでよ。いくら私のことが大好きだからって。
Damn. Damn, we got called a brat. Damn. Cheerful, lively voice rang out. A voice I knew in an instant. There she is.
久しぶり。元気にしてた？私はもうすっかり元気よ。
クララ
Gray dashed over to Clara at speed I hadn't thought he was capable of and flung his arms around her.
なんだよおせえよ
Aw.
待ってたんだよ。
ずっと寝ていたんだから少しくらい許してよ。泣き虫のお兄ちゃん。
開いてねえ。
Curious protest would have been more convincing if he had been wiping his eyes with his sleeves, as he shouted them. Called him Brad and a crybaby. Yeah. To be fair, I was in tears just watching them.
よかったよ本当に。信じて待てば奇跡ってちゃんと起こるんだな。
My otome picked up. I have no idea.
まだ3人いるからな。油断はできない。ヒューゴも戻ってくるかどうか。
不吉なこと言わないでもらえますか。セルジュさんはヒューゴさんの信者なのに。
あなたも似たようなものだろう。
You'd give me stiff competition, that'd be them.
俺は単純に俺のことを許すどころか励ましてくれたヒューゴさんの懐の深さを尊敬してるだけですよ。
だったら同じだ。
はいはい。
It was around that point that Krieg came back to his senses and stepped away from Clara in a fluster. She used her newfound freedom to walk over to me. As she approached me, I was struck by the fact that she was really here, in the flesh. Is it really you, Clara? The real you? So glad to see you looking so well.
本物って偽物がいるの？
There just might be, you never know.
ここにいるのは間違いなく私。エマ、ありがとう。あなたのおかげでこうやってまた泣いたり笑ったりできる。ありがとう。今私とても幸せよ。
Clara pulled me into a hug and I returned her embrace. Her grip was so shockingly strong, I burst into teary-eyed laughter. You really did come back to us. You kept your promise. Sure, everything will be alright. We'll see the others soon too. That wish would be granted far sooner than I could have ever expected. The miracle we had brought about revealed itself in its full glory before we could even finish preparing for the new park to open. There they are.
なぜか町の入り口でずっとうろうろしていて、挙動不審な人物だと思ったら声をかけられて、誰かと思ったらリオンさんだったっていう。
There's the buddy boy.
だってほら、グランブールの街にちゃんと入ったことってなかったからよくわからなかったんだよ。
Never. That's true. He's lost.
それは理解できますが、名乗ってもらわないと僕はあなたの本当の姿を知らないので。
あ、そっか。それであんなに驚いてたんだ。
気づくのが遅いですよ。
でもルシオールさんに会えてよかった。おかげで無事にたどり着いたよ。
本当ですよ。十分に感謝してほしいですね。
うん、ルシオールさんありがとう。
まあ、それくらいで結構です。
Lucio and Leon were the next to arrive, and in the highest of spirits. Their smiles were so natural, their attitudes so casual that I almost had to wonder why I'd ever had any doubts to begin with.
というわけで、ただいま戻りました。
Yep.
ただいま、みんな。戻ってきたよ。
Oh, we have an ad break though. We have an ad break for 3 minutes, so we're let that go and play out. So yeah. Yeah, let's just wait for your 3 minutes. I check on some stuff. Oh, okay. Ad break is almost done. Okay. Nope. Oh, okay. Ad break done. Yippee. Let's continue. Their happy expressions made it easy for me to welcome them with a smile on my own in turn. I had missed them dearly in their absence, but now that they were back, it felt like all that lonely anxiety had barely lasted a moment. Just like that, 2 more of us had returned to the fold. Only one remained. One day, as I finished up a task and stepped out of the storehouse, I find something for lunch. I noticed something unusual. There was a person standing before the menage. He walked in a slow, deliberate circle around it, inspecting it from top to bottom. You'd think he was admiring a priceless work of art in a museum.
なんだろうね。寝ている間に少し体が縮んだのかもしれない。
Huh? You know, I think I might have lost a few inches while I was asleep. What do you mean? do you mean? You're shorter? You're shorter right now?
マ
What?
ネージがやけに大きく見えるよ。不思議だな。
The fuck? Hugo muttered to himself as he looked up at the attraction he built.
周りに建物がないからだろ
You inches where?
う。バカなことを言う前に言うべきことがあるんじゃないか。
そうだったね。
7 years ago, I had almost lost him. For the 7 years since, he had been bound to the RPA, his soul trapped on the brink of life and death by my magic. Now, at long last, my old friend stood before me once more.
みんな、ただいま。ここが新しい霊部移動遊園地でいいのかな。
I was overwhelmed by a surge of emotion, burst out in tears. Found myself throwing my arms around him, just like Ray had done to Clara when she returned to us.
おっと。
Is this an otome? Yep, it is. It is an otome game. Hugo's voice sounded more gentle and calming than ever as I sobbed into his chest.
俺はこの日が来るのを待ちきれなかったよ。動かない体に苛立ち憤るくらい。
As calm and composed as his words were, the weight of the emotions behind them came through clearly by his touch. I suppose the weight was just as hard on him as it was on us.
ようやく約束を守れたね。でも俺を助けてくれてありがとう。
Love your avatar, thank you. I was bawling like an infant and making a mess of Hugo's shirt in the process. Barely even noticed though. I was too overwhelmed by joy to pay any attention to little details like that.
なんか僕らの時と差がある気がします。何ですかあの熱烈な歓迎は。
まあ彼女にとっては一番の昔馴染みだしな。
ほら、二人ともそろそろいいだろう。いや、俺は別に気にしないんだけど、でもなんていうか。
Is that wrong? The awkward muttering of our audience brought me back to reality, and I quickly stepped away from him. I'm sorry, I was just so happy. Hugo ever hugged me all over again before I could finish accusing myself. Oh my. He knew what he was doing.
悔しいのかな。だったら自力で勝ち取るしかないね。
Excuse me.
ああ、焚きつけちゃって大人げないわね。
悔しいとかは別に。
You sure? you sure?
仲良くっていいな。僕はちょっと羨ましいかも。
さて、そんなことよりせっかく全員が集まったんだから話すべきことがあるだろう。
To Sergei's prompting, Hugo released me. I turned to look out across everyone's faces. There they were. Hugo, Sergei, Cree, Leon, Lucille, Arnold, and Clara. We'd really done it. Everyone was accounted for. And not just that, they all seemed to be doing better than ever. I don't know what to call this reunion after other than a miracle, but I know it took more than just that to make it happen. Thanks to all of you. Yes, you all kept your promises that we're all here today. Thank you all so much.
助けてもらったのはこっちなのに、ありがとうございますもないけどね。でも、とにかく。
Yuga and I looked each other in the eye. Seemed we were both thinking the same thing. This means we'll be able to start fresh. The new RBA will be open before we know it.
そう。みんなで新しい霊部を作ろう。
ああ
ほら、セルジュさんとルシオールも。
おお。
Our hearts were as one. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that on that day, Europe had found its new beginning. Yay! We gathered up inside the newly erected administrative tent, each tending to our task.
くそ、やっぱもっとテントが必要だろ。仮設でもいいから立てておくべきだって。ほらまた荷物に引っかかったじゃねえか。
あ、
それはクリエがよく見ないからでしょ。もっとちゃんと。あいった、椅子にぶつけた。
お前、どの口が言ってんだよそれ。
Free and Cloud returned from the tent we'd been using as a storehouse, arguing all the way. Staff grumbling about our lack of tent space wasn't a new phenomenon by any means. The vast majority of the new review structures were still temporary at the moment. We'd build up our proper facilities in the near future. For now, the administrative tent was the only one that was properly finished. That meant that everyone's work brought them here, turning the tent into an ever-bustling center of activity. Of course, that just makes the work more enjoyable.
クリエとクララは戻ってきてからなおさら仲がいいね。
あれが仲がいいか？
Well, I'd certainly say so. Most likely, anyway. I just finished the simple repair work I'd been handling, and I was looking around to see if I could help anyone with their tasks. I was scheduled to help Arnold with some paperwork eventually. I was writing a letter at the moment though, so I had figured it would be better to give him some time before I interrupted. In the meantime, I noticed Hugo working on a large sheet of paper and decided to offer a hand. Are you drawing up a diagram?
そうだよ。ようやく考えがまとまったから、これから設計図を起こしていく。これはまだラフだけどね。
Hugo's pen raced across the paper, even as he replied to me. The lines he drew were so flawlessly straight. It was a marvel he could manage them without using a ruler. That was impressive enough on its own, but my admiration only grew as each flick of his wrist brought the plans for the structure he'd designed to life. It was almost magical. I thought you were just drawing random lines at first, but they formed a building before I knew it. Hugo beamed at my praise, then pulled a nearby chair over to rest beside his.
興味があるなら教えるよ。おいで、エマ。
I was about to accept his offer, then Arnold took hold of my arm from behind me.
ダメだ。エマは俺の手伝いをするって言ってただろ。それにその椅子、どう考えても近すぎるし。
そうかな。近くで見た方が分かりやすいと思っただけなんだけど。
He knows what he was doing. Somewhere along the way, Hugo and Arnold had grown comfortable enough around each other to get into these little quarrels. Come to think of it, Arnold mentioned that he'd bought Hugo a bottle of liquor as a present recently. I guess he made a good on the promise he'd made before I'd set everyone free. I had a feeling that gift might have helped the two of them grow closer to one another.
いやいや、そこに座ったらほぼ密着だろ。近い。どう考えても近い。
Okay.
一度座ってみればいいんじゃないかな。ほら、ここにおいで。
書類整理始めるぞ。たく、油断も隙もないな。
それは心外だな。俺はただ教えてあげると提案しただけだよ。
いやいやいや、今のは絶対に妙な下心があったって。
下心か。あっちゃいけないのかな、それは。
開き直った。
Oh boy. Hugo shrugged while Arnold shook his head with exasperation. Maybe it's less that they're closer now and more that they've grown more casual with each other. Certainly didn't see that as a bad thing. Sergei, on the other hand, heaved a sigh as he watched the two of them. I'm loving this extra chapter.
そればかりだな。人前なのだから節度ある行動を心がけてほしいものだ。
まあセルジュの言い分は間違っていないとは思うけどね。
エマ、彼らは放っておいて私の作業を手伝ってくれ。あなたには気を使わなくて済むから一緒に作業がしやすいんだ。
おい冷血メガネ、どさくさに紛れて抜け駆けしてんじゃねえ。
Oh no.
誰が抜け駆けた？
Oh no.
私はただ
Guys,
二
it's
人
a
の家が
Harem
終わりそうに
chapter.
なかったから声をかけただけだ。
だからそれが抜け駆けって言うんだろ。
Well, I'd be perfectly happy to help out anyone who needs it, but I'm going to have to ask someone to wait their turn.
私は気にしていないみたいな顔していいとこ取りかよ。やだよなそういうの。
だから違う。
抜け駆け。
違うと言ってるだろう
Oh,
が。
he was blushing. Well, harem route, yep. True route is the harem route. Apparently this is the true ending, so yeah. His towering stature had Korea shrinking away in no time at all.
ちょっと背が高いからって見下ろしやがって。
Why are we teaching young girls now?
確かに随分目線が下だと思った。
はあ、そんなのでひるまねえからな。
なるほど。口論で戦うつもりなら応じよう。
An argument? Why are they always like this? Something about this entire situation did quite sit right with me. Had being shut up in the tent working for days on end, taking its toll on everyone's nerves. Just as I was about to try and defuse the situation, Ian tapped me on the shoulder.
みんな言い合いを始めちゃって困ったね。
It is, yes, but what are they even arguing about? Oh, you sweet summer child, Emma. Completely missed the start of all this.
きっと時間が経てば冷静になると思うし、僕たちは昼食の準備をしよ
う。待ってください。あなたは僕と行くんです。騒がしい連中よりは僕の方がいいでしょ。
Oh, also it is 5:30. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on the dog real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. What happened? Oh, damn. 100 stream streak from Spencer. Damn. Yeah, Leon is definitely grown into a hot bun boy in the future. Position is threatened. Welcome back. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in another 30 minutes though, I am gonna step out again.
ちょっと待て、リオンとルシオール。お前らいつの間にエマの手をしっかり掴んで。
Nom nom.
一番油断ならないのは彼らだ。
There's actually a CG. There's actually a CG.
悠長なこと言ってる場合かよ。
そうですよ、セルジュさん。エマ、戻ってこんよ。
エマ、おいで。
Oh my god. Felt like all 6 of their voices were pulling me in different directions, and I hadn't the foggiest idea how to cope with it. How had it even come to this in the first place?
一緒にお昼の用意をしようよ。君と一緒が一番楽しいのに。
独り占めする気ですか？そういうところが油断ならないと言われるんです。
そう言ってルシオールこそ引きこもり仲間になろうとか言い出すんだろ。
いけませんか？家で読書するのが趣味と聞きましたから。大差はないでしょ？
ある。お前は寝てばっかじゃねえか。
話がそれている。今はとにかく彼女の役割分担をどうするかをだな。
I do not approve this ending. Well, this is a true ending
だから
apparently.
それは俺が一番最初に約束したんですって言ったじゃないですか。
I know the cheat. Whoa!
彼女の気持ちが一番大事な
Oh,
んじゃないのかな。
I think the MC only think of them as friends at this point, yo. I've completely lost track of what's happening here. What am I even supposed to do now? I shot Clara a pleading glance, and she replied with a smirk as she kept folding the textiles she'd been sorting through.
モテる女は辛いわね。
Even Bestie's like, you can do it. That's definitely not what's happening here.
それ以外の何者にも見えないけど。
Little did I know that this was far from the last time a scene like this would play out. Welp. The founding of our new amusement park had posed all sorts of difficulties, but once everyone finally came together, our work proceeded smoothly. Our fundraising took a turn for the better as well. Structures built according to Hugo's blueprints were raised one after another, and we soon had an ample assortment of rides as well. All of us were soon in agreement. The time to open our park was rapidly approaching. It's been a very long time coming, but Revier is finally ready to open its new form. And with the park's opening, the time had come for us to take our business on the road. Alright, this is a traveling amusement park. Madame Alice was among them, and she congratulated us wholeheartedly on our park's completion. With her kind words driving us forward, we set out from Blancbourg, bringing the Revier to new locations all across France. We visited thriving cities and quiet hamlets alike. Sergei had finally learned to loosen up a little, so we chose our destinations as we saw fit. Traveling where we pleased without concerns over profits. Hugo was ever the consummate professional, greeting our visitors with his trademark smile no matter where we found ourselves. Lara was right beside him. I had a feeling you could search all of France and still not find a woman who could staff a ticket booth as well as her. During his performances grew more polished by the day. Felt like he'd broken through a wall with his work. He'd gotten much better at entertaining kids recently as well. Lucille still not shutting himself up in his tent, but he still set foot outside on a regular basis. He kept our machinery in tip-top condition at all times. Leon mentioned missing his old costume, so I ended up giving him a new one that was its fitting image as a present. He'd strut around the park in it, much to the delight of any visiting children. And Arnold wrote about each and every place we visited, sending his reports back to be published in that. He was still as much of a reporter as ever, even as he worked at the review. Every day was as busy as could be, and I couldn't have been happier. To think a day would come that everyone could be this happy together. It's like a dream. In fact, this really is nothing less than the amusement park of my dreams. Oh. One day, we'd wrapped up a stay in Paris and we're discussing our next destination.
大盛況だったね。スターライツもうまくいってよかった。
Oh!
経費は随分かかったかな。
その分ちゃんと売り上げもあったでしょ。
それはまあ。
それで次の目的地はどこにするの？フランス？
それならイタリア行こうぜ。スイスでもいいし、スペインでもいいけど、とにかく外国。
それってどこでもいいと言うんじゃ。
外国か。僕行ったことないし、いいと思うよ。
なるほど。例えばイギリスやアメリカの方では新しい技術も生まれているというしね。国外に目を向けるのもいいかもしれない。
そうだな。少し遠いがアジアの方も文化が違って訪れると面白いかもしれない。
中国や日本とかか。フランス以外の場所を選択肢に入れるなら準備はいろいろ必要だろうけど。
でもその準備も楽しいものだ。この新しいレーブ移動遊園地を開園した時にそれはよく分かったからね。というわけでどうだろうエマ。次のレーブの行き先を国外にするというのは。
I replied with the most content smile I could muster. No matter what sort of troubles and sorrows we faced, I was confident we could overcome them together. The power of magic and miracles was no longer within my grasp, but we had plenty of dreams to spare. And I knew that in many ways, dreams weren't all that different anyway. They had the power to bring a smile to people's faces. They were the driving force that would propel us on a new journey. They take us from France to all corners of the world. Even if we didn't speak a word of the local language, even if we never heard of the lands we wound up in, as long as we were together, I knew I had nothing to fear. Throughout our travels, we would bring dreams to all the people who came to visit us. There, in the center of it all, would stand the menage, ever glimmering with a beautiful, fantastical light. I may not be a witch anymore, but all of us have our own form of magic now. We have the most special magic of all, the power to bring smiles to people far and wide. Well, oh. That's a new song actually. That's a different song than the usual one. Yo, that's cool. Do we have an epilogue for that? Like usually? Oh, saving. Oh. Oh, nope. That just brings me to the title screen.
幻想マネージュ
Oh, okay. If I go to extras... Special? Nope, there's nothing here now. Yep. Nothing. So that's it. Yep, that's it. That's it. Now time for the final chapter. Nah, we good. Actually, we just finished it. That was really good. That was really good because usually the modern otome games I played, they don't have a final chapter like that. The final chapter that they will give you is usually the chapter for the route for the poster boy. Well, that's a different experience at least. Final is us replaying the routes again. I mean, there are the bad endings for each route, but I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Looks for a new otome version to play. I already have one. I already have one. With the bad ending, let's go. No, I have actually one game that I want to play next though, so I kind of want to do that. Next week at least. I could probably show a picture of the game. Where is it? Me. It should be on the Switch now. It was released just this February. Me. If I can find the picture. Can I actually just copy it here? No. Nope, I don't think so. So I'm just gonna... Downloads. Can I not? Okay, I cannot just drag it into OBS. Okay. Yeah. Next game I'm gonna be playing is this one. It's a game I've been looking forward to get translated. If I remember, it was only on the PS Vita. Back then, it was only on Japanese. That was back in 2014. Yeah, it released on the PS Vita in 2014. And then it got translated on the Switch and released this February, if I remember, this year. I'm not gonna try to log in right now though. I'll wait for later. Stares at the other two Hakoki on Steam. I already have those though. And I have the Switch version, which is just the 2-in-1 game version of the Steam one. Is it just me or 4 of them have exact same haircut? Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, this one is an old game from 2014 that got translated recently and just released this February. And I've been looking forward to actually playing it because, you know, it was exclusive to the PS Vita back then, and I didn't have a PS Vita. Oh yeah. Me. Okay, so yeah, we'll play that next week. For Tuesday. I'm just gonna have to install it on my Switch and probably set up the game capture for it. And I do have a mental note of which route I'm gonna be going for that one. But also I've been thinking if Dean wants to do a like simultaneous playthrough with that. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to talk to Dean for that because Dean and I did play the original Hakoki together back then. Dean and I have to talk about that, but we'll see by next week. I'll have to talk to him in DMs later on. But yeah, for now I am gonna be ending stream so I can go and tend to the dog as well. She needs to go get her food and medicine. So for now, let's raid out. I know Kana is live, but let's raid out to someone else since I've been raiding Kana lately. Bah. We got all of them. Wait, let me refresh the Twitch side. I think it's not loading the recent ones properly. Miko read out the job. He's doing art. Let me just mute this though. Whoa, and there's the ads. I got ad jailed the moment I clicked on jobs. Steam. Yeah, let's read out the job, and I'll have to plan out the next otome game. I'll have to talk to Dean if he still wants to do a simultaneous playthrough for that. That is if he also has the game. Yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We do have Arc. We got Arc with Kana, Dean, and Sean. So, yeah. And that's Wednesday. Then Thursday, I'm gonna be playing Genshin again. Gonna do the event. I've been curious about the event, so I kind of want to do it on stream. Yeah, for now, I'll see you guys. And yeah, thank you for dropping by, everyone. Good luck at Arc tomorrow. I prep resources for you all. Okay, thanks. Yeah, see you guys. Bye-bye.